Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program tonight, yesterday the Congress said the High Court order staying President's rule in Uttarakhand was a victory for democracy. Today the Supreme Court's order seems to have turned the tables on the Congress. President's rule is back, Harish Rawat is out as Chief Minister and the bottom line remains the same. Come the 29th of this month, there will be a floor test and there, once and for all, hopefully, we will know if the Congress has the numbers to remain in power or not. Our question tonight, President's rule back after 24 hours. Will Uttarakhand's Game of Thrones get murkier? Also on the show tonight, the senior BJP leader from Haryana, Captain Abhimanyu, joins me and for the first time tells us the frightening story of how his young family escaped from sure-shot death during the height of the Jat riots in Rohtak. He shares with NDTV also for the first time video of his house being burned down, moments after his family miraculously escaped. An interview you don't want to miss. That will be close to the hour.
They saw people breaking the house, they saw people breaking things in the house, they saw people entering in the house, they saw people looting the house, and they saw people surrounding their house. They were locked in the house. The house was put to fire. At that particular spot of the moment, I can only say that probably God or a miracle saved them.
But first, our top story. President's rule in Uttarakhand, stayed by the High Court yesterday, is back on the orders of the Supreme Court as the battle of one-upmanship between the Congress and the BJP continues.
Harish Rawat's return to the Chief Minister's chair lasted barely 24 hours. By Friday evening, the Supreme Court put everything and every player on hold. The High Court order quashing President's rule stayed till the 27th of April, which means Harish Rawat cannot rule. The government plea in Supreme Court was simple. It doesn't have a copy of the High Court order to challenge it, and the Chief Minister has started operating on the order dictated in court.
The Chief Minister will have no power or jurisdiction to work any further till further orders are passed by the Supreme Court on 27th.
Stung by the High Court order, the centre moved extra legal artillery in the form of top lawyer Harish Salve and a desperate plea claiming Rawat's government was in minority on the 18th of March and that the budget was passed violating rules. The centre needs the top court's intervention to stall the trust vote on the 29th of this month. Harish Rawat has the winning numbers as the 9 Congress MLAs are disqualified. The relief for the government is that the rebel camp is not succumbing to pressure.
We are quite hopeful that there will be justice, ultimate justice, by the apex court on the 27th, and let's hope for the best.
So the centre has a breather from the Supreme Court in the Uttarakhand case, but the Supreme Court also handed over a note of caution to the central government. It told the union government, do not revoke the President's rule in Uttarakhand, thus ending any possibility of political forces in Uttarakhand exploring government formation, as in the case of Arunachal. The centre's legal argument for imposing President's rule one day before the trust vote is still on a sticky wicket. Worse, the Congress is using every opportunity to prove that the centre is trying to remove its government.
यदि मुझे कभी 18 मिनट भी मिलेंगे सेवा करने के लिए, मैं उसका भरपूर उपयोग करूंगा। बल्कि अब तो मैंने एक सबक ले लिया है कि तुमको बहुत ही कम समय मिलने वाला है, जितने तेज कर सको उतना तेज करो, क्योंकि मैं जानता हूं कि मोदी भैया जो हैं मुझे छोड़ने वाले नहीं हैं।
The trouble for the Narendra Modi government is far from over. The Supreme Court has only given an interim stay to the Uttarakhand High Court's order till the 27th of this month. And with parliamentary convening, the fireworks are expected to be seen in both houses of parliament. With Rahul Srivastava, Sunit Prabhu, NDTV.
Mr. Rawat, you were a Chief Minister for just a few hours. What is your initial reaction to the Supreme Court staying the High Court order from Nainital?
A few hours before, I was a Barkhast Mukhyamantri, and yesterday, after the verdict of the Honorable High Court, I became the Chief Minister. Or now, with the new decision coming from the Supreme Court, now I am a former Chief Minister. मेरा नाम केवल बदला है। पहले मैं मोदी जी के द्वारा सर काटा हुआ जो है बर्खास्त मुख्यमंत्री था, कल हाई कोर्ट द्वारा स्थापित मैं मुख्यमंत्री था, और आज जो है मैं जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट के द्वारा बनाया गया निवर्तमान मुख्यमंत्री हूँ। 27 तारीख को जो है डेट लगी हुई है, तारीख सुनवाई होगी। ये एक अंतरिम आदेश है। इस अंतरिम आदेश की रीडिंग केवल इतनी है कि यथास्थिति बनी रहेगी और हम उम्मीद करते हैं ये जो संविधान हमारे पक्ष में है, लोकतंत्र हमारे पक्ष में है, जनभावना हमारे पक्ष में है, मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से भी हमको न्याय मिलेगा।
So you took 11 key decisions within these few hours that you had, 2 cabinet meetings and 11 key decisions, but that was a point used by the centre as an argument that before the detailed order came out in writing.
मैं उन लोगों को एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ, वो आजन्म सत्ता का पट्टा लिख करके आए हैं और मुझ जैसे लोगों को कभी कभी अवसर मिलता है, मैं उस अवसर को कैसे गंवा सकता हूँ। कल मुझे अवसर 18 घंटे का मिला, मैंने करीब 18 जो है निर्णय लिए, गरीबों के पक्ष में लिए, दलितों, पिछड़ों, आदिवासियों के पक्ष में, अपने SC ST के पक्ष में लिए, विकलांगों के पक्ष में लिए। मैंने जो है जो गरीब लोगों को समाज कल्याण की पेंशनें मिलती हैं उनको बढ़ाने का निर्णय लिया, बेरोजगारों के लिए निर्णय लिया, राज्य आंदोलनकारियों को पेंशन देने का निर्णय किया और पानी जैसे सवाल, जंगल के आग जैसे सवाल, 4 धाम जैसे सवालों का समाधान निकालने की कोशिश की। मैं भी जो है झुकने वाला नहीं हूँ, मैं भी विशुद्ध खालिस यहाँ जो है उत्तराखंड का गाड़ गधेरों का व्यक्ति हूँ। हमारे गाड़ गधेरों के पत्थर जो है वो घिसते घिसते समाप्त हो सकते हैं, लड़ते लड़ते समाप्त हो सकते हैं प्रकृति से, दूसरी चीज़ों से, मगर टूट नहीं सकते हैं, झुक नहीं सकते हैं, तो मैं भी नहीं झुकने जा रहा।
So you don't think you did anything wrong? Last question, sir. Are you prepared for the 29th? Because the Supreme Court will still, of course, decide whether the floor test continues on the 29th. But numbers have been a concern right from the beginning. So for the 29th, what's your preparation?
हमने खुद ही अपनी कैबिनेट में फैसला करके स्पीकर महोदय से कहा है कि 29 तारीख को विधानसभा बुलाई करके हम अपना बहुमत सिद्ध करेंगे। मैंने बहुत पहले भी कहा था, जब 28 मार्च को रखा गया था, मैंने कहा भाई 2 ही रास्ते हैं, या तो फ्लोर पर जो है हमारे मेजॉरिटी सिद्ध होगी तो मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में काम करेंगे, यदि मेजॉरिटी सिद्ध नहीं कर पाएंगे तो लोगों विधानसभा को भी धन्यवाद देंगे, प्रणाम करेंगे उस मंदिर को और उसके बाद पैदल चल करके अपने घर तक आकर के जनता को भी, उत्तराखंड के लोगों को भी धन्यवाद देने जाएंगे। और इस 29 तारीख को होगा तो 29 तारीख को भी यही करेंगे। हमारे स्वभाव में, हमारे काम में कोई अंतर नहीं आएगा। हम और लोगों की तरीके से नहीं हैं, जब सत्ता से बाहर हैं तो दूसरे आदर्श हैं और जब सत्ता में हैं जब तो फिर कुछ दूसरे आदर्श हैं, हम उनकी तरीके से नहीं हैं।
All right, thank you for talking to us. So that was Mr. Harish Rawat. Then it's back to President's rule here at Uttarakhand, but Mr. Rawat trying to show that he is not giving up anytime and he will in fact fight back and hope that if at all there is a floor test by the end of next week, that he manages to be victorious there. With camera person Manoj Kumar reporting from Dehradun, Tanima Biswas for NDTV.
Well, Harish Rawat over there trying to make the best of a pretty bad situation. His vibes yesterday were quite different. Yesterday he'd said that what the High Court had ruled was a victory for democracy. I'm not sure whether he would necessarily argue the same thing today. Joining us to look at the road ahead in this game of political one-upmanship, what happens next, what happens to the people of Uttarakhand in this complex legal case. Nalin Kohli of the BJP, Kishore Upadhyay, Uttarakhand Congress President also with us. Pinky Anand, Additional Solicitor General, Prashant Bhushan, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Subhash Kashyap, the constitutional expert. So we've got a high-powered panel this evening of leading lawyers. Let's just see what we get out of this debate. Let me come to you first, Mr. Upadhyay. Why did you have to rush for the Chief Minister's seat?
Yeah.
You didn't even have a copy of the order.
No, there was no rush. Because you have a very legal expert in the panel, they will tell you better than me. But when there was a speaking order from Honorable High Court, our representative was there, our advocate, central government's advocate was there, and Honorable Governor's advocate was there. So everybody was there present. They know what court is saying, and when court has said that President rules ends here. So what was the option? Who
No,
will
but you
take
didn't even
the
wait for an order from the court.
of the state?
But why the desperate hurry? Why the desperate hurry to pass more than 10 orders in less than a day? What were you trying to prove? That you are hungry for power?
We are not hungry for the power. But you tell me, and other panelists also tell me, will enhance my legal knowledge. What was the option before us? Should we put Uttarakhand in hodgepodge created by Mr. Narendra Modi and
but
his
what
team?
was the hodgepodge if there was
take the charge of
what
the
was
state?
the hodgepodge if President's rule remained over there?
Who will look after the state when there is no president rule?
All right.
Who will look after the state? That is the basic question I am asking to everybody.
Oh, well, that's a larger question. We'll hopefully get an answer on the 29th. But Nalin, let me ask you this. Do you consider this, Nalin Kohli, do you consider it a victory of sorts for you today? Or is what has happened in the Supreme Court essentially procedural? Bottom line, 29th, everybody will know where things stand. So, would you call it a procedural step? In your favor,
I don't know about the 29th because the next date of hearing is the 27th and the matter is before the Supreme Court. But I've been listening to Mr. Rawat's long interview, I've been listening to Mr. Upadhyay's long comments, and Mr. Modi is central to both of them. I think there was a reason for hurry, and that reason for hurry was evident, which the entire nation saw in terms of a video, a sting of a chief minister seeking to purchase support for so-called to serve Uttarakhand. So that was the exact hurry. And that exactly is not hodgepodge according to the Congress party. But Mr. Modi must be blamed for a reality that's not happened in India's history, where on the 18th we have seen a fraud, a literal constitutional fraud being played out on the floor of an assembly. 27 people in the morning from the BJP go to the governor. They ask for a division. Why did Mr. Rawat in his petition in para number 16 deny this fact in the sense said nobody asked for a vote? Wasn't that a lie? Do you approach a high court, an honorable high court, with a dirty hand in that sense? With unclean hands, suppressing a fact, making a genuine, specific misrepresentation of the facts?
Okay, Nalin, couple of points.
These are serious arguments. And you say that you want to serve Uttarakhand. In the evening, when 35 people have asked for it, when the governor sent that thing to the speaker on instructions of the governor's office sent it.
But they have written 2 letters to the governor saying that they wanted a floor test. Why did you need to act 24 hours before a floor test in the first place?
Mr. Som, because what everyone is trying to conveniently forget, and you will need to look at this very carefully, is that on the 18th what happened was the primary reason that you had to realize was there. This is the government of India. The government of India, when it's making an advice through the cabinet to the Honorable President of India, on whom I must say there have been certain comments, which I'm not sure, I ask myself this question, that should we have comments on the highest constitutional position of the land without understanding that it's part of a judgment?
We shouldn't do that. Let's keep that out of the way. Let's focus on the legal
we can come back to the political issue. Let's come back, because the government of India will first collect. The governor sends in various reports, writes his communication, letters, whatever you may call it. There is also Article 356 is specific. It's not only on the governor's report, it is also otherwise. That means when the government of India has got information that something is happening on the 18th, which 27 BJP MLAs asked, 9 MLAs whom the Congress itself calls rebels in their own petition, clearly in para 16. So the Congress here is moving with double face. And what they are saying is they want to serve the people of Uttarakhand through a sting to purchase support, which is the first in Indian democracy where a chief minister is doing so.
Okay, Prashant Bhushan, come in over here. Nalin makes the point about the sting repeatedly, but if you look at what the High Court yesterday had to say, the High Court said it is true material was available in the form of a CD, but it is clear from the record that the cabinet had not verified the CD when giving the advice I presume, to the president.
Because the 356 wasn't imposed only on the CD.
No, but then if this is what the High Court said yesterday, can this sting, as Nalin argues, still be considered weighty enough to contribute towards the imposition
I must clarify
of
something
President's
legally,
rule?
and you've got the ASG, you've also got others, but I must clarify something legally. Please go back very carefully and understand how 356 operates.
No, but there's a lot over here about 356 which shows that 356 shouldn't have come in at all. But Nalin, one second. Nalin, let's deal one issue at a time.
Because I think you're getting it wrong. So I must. It's my responsibility also.
Nalin,
that I must put it down very clearly. The courts can look at the relevance of the material that is given in terms of the advice.
Yeah, they
can't look at the sufficiency, the adequacy and other issues.
They have looked at the relevance, and they have said that it is true material was available.
That material may be considered, it may not be considered.
But Nalin, you're saying the same point. You're saying the same thing. The High Court has said it is true that material was available, but it is clear from the record that the cabinet had not verified the CD when giving the advice.
Hold on, 1 minute, hold on. Vishnu, I have again said you're missing the point by a mile. You're missing it by a mile. I said material can be relevant, it may not be relevant. It is in the totality of it. The courts cannot, part of judicial review, go in there and look at the adequacy, sufficiency, and finally look at the judicial review of the decision
Bhushan, would you like to come in over there? Would you like to come in over there? Let's deal with this point on the CD. My interpretation, not as a lawyer, but only as a journalist of what the High Court had yesterday said, it seems to be quite different from what Nalin is saying. Nalin making the basic point that this CD needs to have been considered.
You are a TV person, I've been a TV person.
Mr. Bhushan, one sec, Nalin, let's get other voices. Mr. Bhushan, go ahead.
Even a child in television would know that you have a chief minister saying, "मेरे पास इतने पैसे नहीं है, 4-5 करोड़ अभी दे सकता हूँ." What a scenario. On TV.
Mr. Bhushan, the validity of this thing. Yes, go ahead.
May I ask one question to Mr.
Every
Nalin?
argument, it seems that Nalin has been sent with a brief to just go on speaking without allowing anybody else to speak.
No, sorry, Mr. Bhushan.
This is not the way in which civilized people
Sorry,
behave.
Mr. Bhushan.
Sorry, Mr. Bhushan,
I beg to
debates,
differ.
Nalin.
I am making my point. I didn't interrupt.
No, Nalin,
sir.
can we also have some other voices? Nalin, we've got plenty
of time.
of
It's an unfair
time.
comment. What do you mean civilized? Am I an uncivilized person?
You are not uncivilized.
No, I'm sorry.
Nobody
If I'm
is
an uncivilized
uncivilized.
person,
Let's
don't have
continue
me
with
on
the
show.
debate.
Please don't have me on the show
Let
because I don't
us
consider
all
myself an
continue with the
uncivilized
debate,
person.
Nalin.
And for
One
me, I think
moment.
Mr. Bhushan, who I treat with respect.
Right, so
we are
everybody
also colleagues
treats
at the
everybody
bar.
with respect.
But no,
Mr.
I don't
Bhushan,
think
carry on with the
I
point,
think
Nalin.
it's
Question
fit
to
to make a
Mr.
personal
Nalin.
comment against me. And I think Mr. Bhushan should withdraw it and we can continue with the debate.
Mr. Bhushan, let's not get personal about this. And Nalin, nobody will get personal. That includes you. Mr. Bhushan, please go ahead.
You see, every argument that Nalin is making about the CD, about the vote or not allowing the speaker, not allowing division on the vote on the budget, etc. Each of these arguments has been considered threadbare by the High Court when it held that the actions of the central government were mala fide, were out to destroy democracy, and was not a good enough basis to impose president's rule on a state. Even if the speaker has taken a wrong decision, that is no reason on the basis of which you can say that the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the constitution. So far as the CD is concerned, it's absolutely unclear what exactly the CD shows. It's also absolutely unclear whether the CD is cut, authentic, or not. But in any case, each one of these arguments was argued threadbare before the High Court. The High Court has taken all that into consideration and decided it. Now, so far as Mr. Rawat taking charge yesterday after the High Court order is concerned, you see, once the High Court order is pronounced, the operative order was that the President's rule is quashed. Everybody heard and understood that operative order of the High Court. It's true that the reasons have not yet come out, which will come out early next week. But once the operative order is pronounced, certainly the situation, the President's rule goes and the old government is restored. However, in view of the fact that the central government was going in for appeal before the Supreme Court, etc., Mr. Rawat need not have gone ahead in a hurry and taken decisions which could have waited. He could have taken urgent decisions. He could have also taken routine decisions. But major policy decisions which were not so urgent need not have been taken by him immediately after the High Court judgment.
Okay. Pinky, Nalin spoke a lot about Article 356 and his belief that it was suitable in this particular case. But again, if you look at what the High Court has had to say, and obviously this will be deliberated in the Supreme Court as well, the High Court said that 356 should be used as a matter of last resort. We are of the view that suspension and dissolution of democratically elected governments breeds cynicism in the hearts of citizens. Isn't this at the core of this entire debate, that 356 has perhaps been misused?
Vishnu, I think that perhaps is something which really will find an ultimatum as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, and the judgment is going to be given by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has considered it fit enough that the High Court judgment was considered by the Supreme Court, and the fact that the hearing would take place in a detailed fashion before the appropriate court on Wednesday, before the date that the floor test had been announced for 29th, itself shows that Supreme Court found that there was something worthy of consideration, failing which the matter might have ended just with the judgment in itself. So there is no point at this on this issue to consider what the High Court found. Whether what the High Court found is right or wrong is something which will be adjudicated upon, and it would really not be appropriate to say that is correct in the circumstances, or for that matter even incorrect. Let the Supreme Court decide that. But may I say one thing?
Yes.
The question of what is suitable, what is not suitable, when should 356 be exercised, whether it is appropriate in this case to have exercised 356 is something which is to be decided based on...
Pinky, I'm just going to come back to you in a second. We've lost the audio line with you. It's a bit, there's a bit of a rustle. We'll try and come back in just a moment. Mr. Subhash Kashyap, there have been so many cases, because we've seen the Congress and the BJP accuse each other of lacking democratic values. The Congress says that the BJP has done this in Arunachal Pradesh. They're trying to do this again using Article 356. On the other hand, if you look at the history of the use of Article 356, the Congress party has done it repeatedly. 1992, 1993, the PV Narasimha Rao government dismissed 4 BJP governments in UP, MP, Rajasthan and Himachal Pradesh. The Rao government dismissed the Nagaland government. In 2005, the Manmohan Singh government was in power when the Goa Chief Minister, then Manohar Parrikar, was dismissed by the Governor S.C. Jamir. So, what goes around comes around. So, is it fair for any party accusing the other of dirty politics? They've all done it.
My dear friend, I have one simple point. I heard Shri Harish Rawat. He is an old and very dear friend. I speak as a student of the Constitution. And the point I have, the whole story starts on 18th of March. On the 18th of March, did the party in power, the Harish Rawat government, did they have majority support in the House or did not have? I do not know. If they did not have majority support, they should clearly say whether they had it or not. If they did not have majority support, they had no right to continue even for a minute. And I am not saying whether the appropriation bill was passed or not passed. I am asking them whether they believe that they had lost majority support.
That's
if they had lost majority support, they should have gone. They should have gone that very moment. And the 9 members who rebelled against the Congress party, they were members as on 18th. They had full rights as members of the House and they had the right to vote. Whatever you do subsequently under the anti-defection law is another matter. But on 18th, the floor was there and on the floor it was being tested. Those 9 members had the right to vote. Please tell me, let the Congress people, let Mr. Harish Rawat tell you and tell the nation whether they genuinely believe that they had majority support on that day.
Let's put that question across to the Uttarakhand Congress President. Let's get an answer right now, sir. Mr. Kashyap, let's get an answer to that.
No, just 1 second, please hold on. All that happened after 18th, which is being discussed, the legitimacy of all that goes overboard.